Arsenal vs Atletico Madrid. Predicted lineup. Confirmed team news. Injury latest for Champions League. Ready to return with Gunners, in touching distance of a second Champions League final. Mikel Arteta must decide just how much to risk Martinodegaard and Kai Havertz in Arsenal's Champions League semi-final showdown with Atletico Madrid. It is all to play for at the Emirates Stadium this evening, after a 1-1 draw in Spain last week, as the Gunners look to reach their second Champions League final, 20 years on from their last. Odegaard and Havertz had been major doubts for the match after missing training on Monday, but Arteta revealed at his pre-match press conference later in the day that both would be involved. "Yeah, they're available and in the squad, both of them," Arteta said. "Great, because we need options. We need the capacity to play different games tomorrow, whether it's from the start or after. It's really, really good news for us to have them both back." However, Jurrien Timber has not recovered in time from a groin injury and remains unavailable. Arsenal produced their best performance in recent months against Fulham on Saturday, and Arteta could be tempted to stick with the same attack, particularly if Havertz and Odegaard are not fully fit. Bukayosaka was replaced at half-time in that match to ensure he was ready to face Atletico, and Victor Gyökeres will hope to keep his place after scoring 2 goals and registering an assist. Miles Lewis-Skelly was very impressive in midfield against Fulham, but it is likely that Martin Zubimendi comes back into the starting lineup. At full-back, there are options for Arteta. Ricardo Calafiori looked sharp in that win last time out, though the Arsenal manager could be tempted by the added security of Christian Mosquera and Piero Hincapié. Arsenal returned to the Emirates Stadium on Tuesday night with a place in the Champions League final at stake, and after a dominant 3-0 win over Fulham at the weekend, Mikel Arteta's side go into the second leg with real momentum behind them. Last week's first leg in Madrid ended 1-1 in dramatic fashion. Victor Gyökeres became the first Swedish player ever to score in a Champions League semi-final when he converted from the spot in the first half, only for Julian Alvarez to equalise after the break with a penalty of his own. Arteta was left furious when a second Arsenal penalty was overturned following a VAR review, a decision that still stings, but avoiding defeat at the Metropolitano is still a very solid foundation to build from. Arsenal have won 5 and drawn 1 of their 6 home Champions League fixtures this season. They have not been beaten in 13 games in this competition. The Emirates on a European night, with a final on the line, is about as good a scenario as supporters could have hoped for heading into this tie. Arteta's side also head into it in fine fettle domestically. The 3-0 win over Fulham has put Arsenal 6 points clear of Manchester City at the top of the Premier League, and Gyökeres bagged a brace to take his form into the week in style. Long-term absentees Mikel Merino and Jurrien Timber remain unavailable, Timber's groin problem continuing to keep him out of what would have been a huge occasion for the Dutchman. The bigger questions surround Martinodegaard and Kai Havertz. Dedegaard picked up a knee injury in the first leg, while Havertz has been dealing with a muscular problem. Both were absent for the Fulham win, but Arteta has expressed hope that both will be available for Tuesday night. Bukayosaka lasted just 45 minutes against Fulham, but there was no injury concern. It was simply a precautionary measure given it was his first start since the Carabao Cup final. He is expected to be fully available and will be central to Arsenal's hopes of breaking Atletico down. On the left, Gabriel Martinelli was an unused substitute at the weekend, widely believed to be a deliberate decision to keep him fresh for this occasion. In goal, David Raya is the automatic choice and has been excellent throughout this Champions League campaign. With Timber out, Ben White or Christian Mosquera could come in at right back. The reliable partnership of William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes continues in the heart of defence, with Piero Hincapié expected to start at left-back after being rested against Fulham. In midfield, Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi should both start. Rice was outstanding in the first leg, completing a game-high 83 passes while protecting Arsenal against Atletico's counterattacks. Whether Dedegaard is fit enough to start or comes off the bench could prove the key selection call of the night. In attack, Saka on the right and Gyaquires through the middle are certainties. The third attacking slot, and potentially a spot in the midfield three, is where Arteta faces his biggest selection headache. Eberechi Eze has been one of Arsenal's brightest sparks in recent weeks and will be pushing hard to start, while Trossard's clinical display against Fulham keeps him firmly in the picture too. Martinelli's freshness after being rested at the weekend adds another option.